Tributes are pouring in, including from our own Fox News contributor, Katie Pavlich, who shared this moment with Charlie back in March. And she joins us now. Katie, our thoughts, our prayers are with you, with the whole Fox family, all the conservatives that loved him, and even those who didn't always agree with him, but still have heavy hearts today. How are you doing? What's going through your mind?
Well, Charlie was my friend, and he was friends with a lot of people. And it's difficult to say goodbye to someone who was taken too soon. I saw Charlie in March, as you pointed out. I was at Black Lives Matter Plaza, actually, when they were dismantling the plaza. He thought that was a great day. He was at the White House for a number of meetings with President Trump and others in the cabinet, as he had good relationships with them, of course, and was so important in getting President Trump reelected. But I've known Charlie, or knew Charlie, since 2013. He had reached out multiple times. You know, he was launching this new Turning Point action. He had an organization that was named something else before Turning Point, and you know, he really wanted to get started. And I was also getting started in my career. And I think my parents actually were some of the first people who donated to him as grassroots supporters. And he was always so gracious to them, too, and always asked about them and always wanted to know how they were. And he loved America so much. And he spent his career and his short life growing up in front of us. I knew him as a teenager and watched him become a grown man with two beautiful children, his wife. And he died doing a very American thing, a First Amendment thing. He was a uniter, not a divider. And there's a reason why so many people showed up to see him in person, thousands of people, millions of people online, people all around the world. I think it's very telling that the President of the United States was the one to announce his death. And you have tributes pouring in from leaders everywhere as if they knew him, and a lot of them did know him. And he made the argument that America is worth fighting for, that America is the opportunity, that if you're willing to accept its God-given principles, anything you want in life can be given to you, that you can work for it. And he stood against the forces that are trying to take it down, the wicked forces that we have seen attacking the very foundation of our country. Yeah. And I think it's really important to also point out that Charlie didn't die tragically in a car accident. He was assassinated. And this is a huge historical moment in our history as Americans. I think what Charlie Hurt said earlier about the Founding Fathers was something I also wanted to bring up about Charlie's impact on the country. And moving forward, I think it's really important that we remind people of his legacy and what he stood for, and to continue to do the work of the foundation of this country and the good things, because he was changing minds on college campuses where they believe America is not a good place, where they have been indoctrinated to think that it is a wicked country that cannot be redeemed and must be torn down. He was a threat because he changed people's minds. He switched the ideology, a toxic ideology, from anti-American to pro-American among young men and young women. And so we have to continue that work for the sake of his legacy, for his family, and for the sake of our country.
Yep, I was thinking about that, the fear in all of us. Do we speak publicly? Of course we do. We can't live in fear, and we have to do what Donald Trump did when he got up and he said, fight, 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 fight for this country. It's important. Katie, thank you for all the work you do. I'm sorry for the loss of your good friend. God bless you.
Thanks.